Hi, I haven't posted in a while, but I wanted to talk about the year as a whole for film. This was my first year fully indulging in film. Last year, I kind of got into it with stuff like Barbenheimer, Poor Things, which I technically saw this year, and Past Lives, and just the rest of the films that came out last year. They blew me away. I've never experienced film like that, and I was so used to the modern that cinema pushes today, and I wouldn't even call it cinema. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the year in total, and all the links for the lists or my letterboxd in general will be down below. And yeah, so off the bat, I just want to put up a ton of the movies that did not even make it to the top 20, but not necessarily down low in like the 40s, which I can make a video on completely on what I think are the worst films of 2024. But again, it's all personal opinion and not everyone is going to agree. So let's get right into the top 20. We Live in Time is great. It's probably one of the most authentic feeling, looking, sounding movies I've seen in a while, besides another movie that's gonna come up later on the list. And I love the chemistry that Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh put between their characters. And I don't know how you don't fall in love with somebody on set with those type of performances, especially the ones that they deliver in this movie. It feels so real and it's so touching. I love the whole movie, and as a whole, I think it's one of the most beautiful films of this year. I saw His Three Daughters at an early premiere that Netflix was hosting at their theater in New York, at the Paris Theater. And I brought my biggest Elizabeth Olsen friend along to watch it with me. And I didn't know how I was gonna feel about this. I thought it could be overrated, it could be a masterpiece, it could be anything. This was incredible. All three performances are sewn together so well. Jacobs is a great director when it comes to directing emotions and chemistry between people. And I feel like those performance-based movies like There Will Be Blood, where yes, you will have an insane set piece, and then the rest of the movie is just the character. Those movies tend to get to me a lot because I feel like if you can deliver a really good performance that to the point that it can carry a movie, you're doing something incredible. And this has three of them. Look Back was, what was his name? I'm a fake fan. Tatsuki Fujimoto's Look Back is incredible. It's the story of two aspiring manga writers and their journey together as they grow up. And I think it's a beautiful work of art. I love his stories so much. I read the manga back when it came out a few years ago. I love Chainsaw Man, the anime and the manga, and his work as a total is just phenomenal. It's very emotional and very inspiring and very beautiful. He has a very unique art style, and it's translated onto film so well. Like, they really nailed it with the animation. I don't remember which animation studio did it. I'm sure I can put it on screen though. And yeah, just it's incredible. I was looking forward to Alien Romulus for months. My friend is a massive Isabella Merced fan. I'm a massive Kaylee Spaney fan. I loved her performance in Priscilla and Civil War, which also came out this year. But going into this, my expectations were dead high. I rewatched all the Alien movies right before watching this, and it's incredible. The cast is so good. The visual effects are crazy for something that wasn't insanely high of a budget, and the suspense is great. The whole thing is basically all that you'd want in an alien horror movie, space, whatever. It's fantastic, and I 100% recommend. As much as I praise Alien Romulus and just Fede Alvarez in general because I love his at least one other movie by him, Longlegs was the reintroduction to horror that I really needed. For a while there, I'm not saying horror has ever gone, down, except for maybe the remakes of the 2010 era. But this, in a sense, you could say is a remake of Cure, but I think it differs enough to the point that it's good for me. I don't like things that copy too much, but also things that too little, because if it's too little, then sometimes it can become dry. And Longlegs is anything but dry. Longlegs is scary. Like, it's one of those things where you can actually feel disturbed on some of the content that is exposed in this film. But I still loved it. I love disturbing, I love horror, and this is all of that. I don't want to say too much because going in with a low understanding of it is probably for the best. I know it's not for everyone, but I really enjoyed it. Now we have Wicked, and Wicked, by a technical standpoint, because a lot of people love to flame it for its lighting and colors, which the colors they fix on some parts in the digital release, but it gets a lot of flame for these decisions. And yeah, I do really hope that John M. Chu fixes these with Wicked Part 2. No, Wicked for Good. I don't know why he changed it to that. That's a god awful title, but it's whatever. My friend came to me one day after seeing this and was like, you need to watch this, like, immediately. I didn't watch it immediately, but I did watch it with him when it came out on digital, and I was blown away. I've never seen any of Farley Forgets. I'm sure I butchered the name. I'm really sick. I have never seen any of her other films, but I do love this one, and I'm pretty sure that's what she goes for in her films. A very disturbing, graphic depiction of more modern things, and the substance touches on beauty standards and modern depictions of what people are willing to do for fame, and it excels at it. It's a body horror that just excels at what it's doing. I love every bit of it. I love the way it uses blocking. I love the way it shows beauty standards and how gross it can be, and it's entirely my kind of madness. Now for the top 3. How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies is, well, pretty explanatory, but it's actually really deeper than that. It's about someone who, or a whole family actually, that tries to mooch off of their grandma and try to get her to spend on them or to give worth, put them in the note, the will, after she dies. And I think you couldn't make a more touching story on how you can change throughout spending time with someone rather than just seeking worth off of them. It's a very touching story, and it's also a very subtle story that you have to be with the whole way through to fully understand what it's doing, why it's doing it, and why it's depicted in this type of way. Dune Part 2 is a masterpiece. I don't think anyone's disagreeing, even if you're giving it lower than a 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10, whatever you're rating it on. I think everybody knows this is an insane spectacle that we've been waiting decades for. Denis Villeneuve has been growing on me the past few years, and I finally went to go see one of his films in theaters, and this was insane. I saw it with my dad twice in theaters, and I'm pretty sure loads just on my own time, but this is just insane. The blocking, the cinematography in general, the production design, the visual effects, it's just epic. It's just an insane spectacle, epic on every shape, form. It's a blockbuster that fills up the meaning so well. I feel like everyone that's seen it already knows this is a best picture just winner or nominee, whatever. I just really hope this gets to shine at the Oscars as well as the #1 pick on this list. I love Sean Baker. Sean Baker has been growing on me for years now. I saw The Florida Project a while ago and I loved it. I loved how Sean Baker depicts just sex workers, children, authenticity in roles of all sorts. And I think that's why he's one of my favorite filmmakers working today. But Anora hit me on a whole nother level. I'm not saying I can relate to Anora because, well, I can't, but I feel like Sean Baker is really good at depicting emotions through characters and not their roles. Because Anora is about a sex worker who gets her chance at a Cinderella story through somebody that she meets at work. And I feel like it's just so beautiful and so sad and so funny. I've never seen a movie flip between being funny and also gut-wrenching at the same time. I love his use of color. I love his use of bleakness. His depiction of sex work as a whole is just what he's been building up to, and I know a lot of people have been saying, but I feel like after this, I don't know what else he can do. He's made a couple movies on sex work already, and I just don't know what else he can do past this. I felt like this was just his work just combined into one, and I'm all for it. I really do hope that Mikey Madison wins Best Leading Actress because she deserves the whole thing. Her performance is just crazy. Her performance is probably one of the best of the decade so far. She perfectly embodies the character that she's trying to portray and that Sean Baker had envisioned. And after seeing interviews and more of her films over the past few years, because I've seen her in Scream, I think that's it, but I remember liking her performance in that. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Not because the performance itself is crazy or the character, well, yeah, the character is, but because she's nothing like that. If you watch interviews, that's the definition of an embodied performance, when you can perfectly fit a character that you're completely separate from, and she does that perfectly. Everything about this movie is fantastic. It's my favorite of the year. And I think that's it. So my letterbox will be down below, same with the list. Yeah, thanks, bye.